Hello, everybody. It's always a delay when setting up the live. Um, good morning, right? Or afternoon or evening or whatever time it is for you. What is up, soul warriors, light seers, and game changers? My name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. For those of you who don't know me, it's a bit of a mouthful to get to know me. I am not your regular starseed and light worker. I am not just some enlightened being talking about these things. What I talk about, I brought about. Okay, I am the one who brought about the ascension. It's not a theory. It's all been processed through me since my Kundalini awakening in 2019. Everything I did is methodical. It's came through workshops live with people there watching. It's been recorded. Some happened live on my YouTube channel. Others were in workshop recording settings with people witnessing it, me witnessing it. It was insane. It started out by raising Atlantis, which I talk about. I know where Atlantis is. It started out by, then it went into clearing Mount Shasta. Now, keep in mind, in between those things, I was doing a lot of little things like plucking GMO farms and throwing money in a pyramid pit. I did that too. And then it went to activating pyramids. And then I freed Jesus's soul. And then I combined the twin flames, which was the resurrection of Christ, which was my DM and Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Okay. And I did that unfortunately by myself. We had some mishaps with the DM. So today is a very important video. I'm doing this live because the last one I tried to do, they tried to put some copyright claim on it, even though I have a right to fair use. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys some of these videos that I really want you to see, some of the things that I really want you to see. Okay. If anybody does actually come and comment, I will try to take a look at that. But honestly, you know, it's like, I feel like people are afraid to see these things. I really do. I feel like people are afraid to see these things. I feel like they're afraid to be honest with things. You know, yesterday somebody saw my resurrection of Jesus video, resurrection of Christ, and instead of watching it, they mocked it. And I'm like, of course they did. Why wouldn't they? Right? Everybody's afraid. I truly believe that. Nobody believes it at this point. We've heard so many times over conspiracy theories and all this kind of stuff, right? But this time it's like the proof is there. But do you think people will watch it? It's difficult. Okay, so I want to show you some things. For those who have watched my channel, have watched my journey unfold. It was a very, very painful one. I almost died. I had taught some people how to heal, and I'm thankful that I did. I have an academy, an alchemy academy, because during the twin flame union, I'm going to talk about this because I am going to show you some things today. Okay. It is a solar eclipse, right? And I want to talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to talk about the twin flames, okay? Because it's relevant right now. Okay. And there's a lot of people around the world going, oh, it's the end of the world. Some people think the end of the world will be on April 23rd of 2023. And it's a lot of information. So I'm like, where do I start? I wish that everybody had seen every one of my videos because it would definitely save a lot of time off of my introduction and explanation into what I'm trying to show. But unfortunately, I truly believe people are just afraid to see the truth. I think people can't come to that understanding at this point. It requires a higher vibrational aspect of self to be able to see the return of Christ. Okay, it requires an open heart. And so most people in the world don't have that right now, and that is the truth. Okay, but I'm going to show you some of these videos today, and I'm going to kind of give you another one. So the relevance here with the twin flames. Okay. When I began resurrecting Christ, Spirit had told me I was supposed to unite the twin flames, and I had met my twin flame. My whole life was rearranged, and I met him. And when we connected, my heart, like you could feel it, it like popped open, and I'm sure his did the same thing. And then emotions went rampant, and it was a very hard union, very difficult. He was a druggie. He was definitely into drugs. He was a drug dealer. He's dead now, so I don't mind talking about him this way. Otherwise, I would not disrespect him in any way, shape, or form. And that is why I had a hesitation uniting with him. And Spirit couldn't tell me everything because it had to be done through free will. Okay. So when I had finished activating the pyramids, which I did do, it is on my Ascension playlist on my channel. You can actually watch them for yourself, but I encourage you to watch the whole video, which most people don't do. I did many pyramids. My heart became enlarged. Okay. That was one of the things, but that was supposed to happen. I used my own energy to do it, Kundalini awakening, and it was my life force energy that I used to move these pyramids. I moved like all kinds of things. I moved the North and South Pole. I would draw these light into the pyramids and rotate them and put them back down. Some were underwater. And this stuff was just happening through me. I didn't plan it. I didn't know what was happening. Okay. Before I show you this, I want to show you something else here. That's me. I am trying to look for comments though too, just in case anybody does come on and wants to comment. I am here. There is nobody, so we're good, but I will keep my eyes out there. It's a lot. I'm like, where do I start? People have missed so much of my journey because it's happened over 3 years' time. Okay. And most people just watch a glimpse of something and they don't watch the whole thing. They just go into judgment. And it's a lot to process. It was a lot to process for me. It's not like all those conspiracy theorists where I say these things are going to come, or even De La Roca. He talks about it. He's not a theorist, right? He feels it in the energy. The difference between them and I is I created it. Okay. And so it's a different aspect of how I talk about things. And I do hope people would watch the videos because they are there. Spirit brought it through me in a specific way. That way it was all proven. You can prove it up and down and left and right and back and forth. Okay, we really can. You just have to watch the videos and then do the research and the proof is there. Okay, I've done that myself. I'm like, what mattered with Fiji and what is this and what are these pyramids? Because they were all over the world. You're talking Machu Picchu was one, which is actually Atlantis. I've talked about that recently. And the video I did yesterday, you guys, they blocked it. I'll show you. It's under review for fair use, but it was about Atlantis. So I actually showed this video. You see, it's partially blocked. I have disputed it for rights of fair use, but it does talk about Atlantis. So if they don't release that video, I will do it again and I'll just do it live. So I talked about Atlantis recently, which was very relevant. Recently also on here, I did a video for the solar eclipse, right? Ascension phase, anchoring moon, solar eclipse elimination, phase 1, okay? That one is very relevant right now, okay? Because today is the solar eclipse, all right? The energies are potent as never before because I bypassed the solar eclipse, okay? What I did in this video, I talk about in here, we moved the moon. You have to watch the video, okay, to understand what I do and who I am. We moved the moon. Okay, Prometheus helped me, I think, in this one. This is a part 2 of it. And then this time I like put a pouring spout from the sun. It was like I opened up the sun and it just kept pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And that's why they call it an eclipse elimination, phase 1 complete. Okay, what does that mean, right? What the hell does that mean? In layman's terms, it means that they can't block the sun from you. Okay, that's kind of what the eclipses would do. The moon would block the sun. It was misaligned. When you think about how, if you watch the Truman Show, right, or if you put that together with when they went to the moon many years ago, supposedly, you know, there's a theory that maybe they didn't go to the moon and things. Well, they did something to the moon. They truly, absolutely did something to the moon. In my first video that I did of elimination of the moon, the eclipse stuff, there was a satellite in it, okay? And it actually fell to the ground. They said it would, and then one did over Oregon. Actually, why can't I get out of here? And so I encourage you to watch both of those videos for this eclipse because they're very relevant if you haven't already. Some people already have. That would be, go into my Ascension playlist. It's much easier to see them all there because I have a lot of videos. This one was the Sun Ascension Portal activation with light language, God Hermes and more. Okay, this is the start of it. These are very relevant for right now. This is why they say the end of the world is coming right now. It is the end of days. It's not the end of the world. Okay. What that means, it's the end of ways, right? Not the end of the world. It means either you come into the light or you don't, and you won't stay. All right. So everybody does talk about the end of the world. I tried to show this video of Jesus returned, and people were like, when he returns, you better wake me up. And I'm like, well, geez, if you just watched the video, he already did. Okay. And I almost died doing it. It's not a joke. I'm going to get into the importance of the twin flames, but it's relevant for the solar eclipse because that's what today is. So I do encourage you guys to watch these videos. The sun ascension portal activation was the first kind of one that I did. And then the second one was that's the false concept of time. That's a really good one too, but it was this one, meditation to eliminate the false light, negative pull, and dark energy from the moon. Okay. This is what people don't really understand is that they fucked up your moon. They did. They moved it. They changed it. The North and South poles got changed back in when Atlantis flooded. I talk about this. I know where Atlantis is. It's Lake Titicaca, Machu Picchu, that whole area. And I had proof of that, which they're starting to discover that. And that's what I was going to show you guys yesterday. So we're waiting for that video. But it's very relevant. It's very relevant with the eclipses and the sun and why they were trying to block the sunlight from you guys, because how do I put this? There was a lot. In this one, the sun ascension portal activation, I did something for the sun. Okay, there was this light here, and I took it and I put it back to the sun. It was like this language I put back in the sun. The sun is relevant for your awakening. Okay, I noticed there was 2 people, now there's only 1. You see what I'm saying? It's so much detail. People don't take the time to see it. They don't take the time to discover this. Their attention span has been so shortened that they don't even realize what it is the ascension is or what it took for me to do it. Because it took a lot for me to do it. And it upsets me how people won't pay attention to those steps. But that's not my detriment. That's theirs. Okay, so in the sun ascension portal, I did something to the sun. Back to the beginning of time, what happened to us is explained in everything I did. Okay, they moved the moon and they took something from the sun, like to block it. Okay, they blocked who you are. They blocked your awakening. They blocked you from having any light, basically. They made sure that you were darkness because they don't live without the light. Okay, the darkness has nothing unless they use it from the light. Okay, that's why there's, you have false gurus and you have people putting a bad name to tarot and all these kinds of things, because things that are not of the light use the tools of the light. Okay, making sense now? So watch this one, watch the false concept of the moon, right? The elimination of the dark pull of the moon, and then the complete one. Those are relevant for what is happening right now with the eclipse and why people say the world is going to end. Okay, so here's this, and then I'm going to get into the other part. New theory claims solar storms will cause the end of the world on April 23rd, 23. The thing about this is the end of the days, the end of ways are already happening. Okay, every day we move forward, it's getting more and more where people will be forced to wake up. You will be forced to choose light or darkness because we don't have a choice. Okay. I took us into 7D. I talk about this over and over and over again. Okay. The rays of the sun, all these CMEs, all this kind of stuff keep hitting us hard. They keep messing with the Shaman resonance. After I do my workshops, you can line it up. Okay, it's real. I'll do the workshops, and then the next day, De La Roca will be talking about what I did. And in the energy, you can see the Schumann resonance go off the charts. So there's conspiracy theorists, right? Talking about the end of the world. You guys, I don't put a date on it. Never put a date on anything. If anybody says there's a date, run. Spirit's not going to, dude, I'm not going to tell you tomorrow you're going to die, because that's stupid and that's not true. And energy is moving, right? Spirit will never put a date on anything. What I think is happening with the dates is that people are feeling the shifts. They're feeling the portals. I talk about the portal of time that I created. That's also in my videos. That was the Sphinx. So people are just reading the energy. Okay. So please don't hold on to dates. Don't think that the 23rd, we're all going to die. Are people dying every day? Yeah, they always have and they always will. Okay. And we are going to lose a big chunk of our population because a lot of people are choosing not to ascend because they just don't want to see. They don't want to see that Jesus has already come. They don't want to hear these things. They call it conspiracy theories because there have been false ones, right? There's been people who muck it up. And then people won't even watch my videos. I'm like, dude, the proof is right there. Like, come on, the proof is there. And then I hear people talking about the earth, the false chakra systems. Like, dude, I have the proof. Like, oh, and I love it how spirit shows me the proof every day. Okay, so that's kind of a little intro into what's going on for your solar eclipse. Why the energies are so potent in this solar eclipse, because usually a solar eclipse blocks that sunlight from you. It blocks an awakening. It was an attempt to keep you small so they can use you. That's what they do. That's why the media did what it did. That's what the vid was about. That's what all the fear was always about, is to break you down so they can use you and manipulate you. Because once the fallen angels separated from God, they have no power. The only power anything that's not of the light can get is from the light. That's why they would spend many, many centuries convincing you you're supposed to be half dark and half light. We are not. Brings me into the masculine and feminine. Okay. The masculine and feminine is what I have been bringing about. All right. And spirit's been wanting me to pay attention to this guy. This is relevant because after I activated the pyramids, and you can watch it all play out on my channel, I freed Jesus's soul. I saw how he died. Okay, that was in my playlist. We'll try to have both parts up here so you can know which videos to go to. But I freed his soul. It happened in my workshop, and this one was the workshop. And then this one I talked about what I processed. It's in the very end of the workshop. It's not in the very beginning. Okay, this was a workshop for my Patreons and it came through. I didn't know it was coming. What happened with the resurrection of Christ was in the workshop, I'll explain it to you because I felt it. I was doing my healings and all of a sudden I saw a person standing in front of me. And this was for my Patreon group. It was just a workshop for healing. And the person I was with took me to a waterway in Skagway, Colorado. He felt drawn there. That's where we had to go. So we went to Skagway, right by a river, right by this waterway. And I gathered these stones and these flowers that I felt that I needed to gather, and I put them all around. And you can watch me do that in the video. It's all there. Then all of a sudden I started channeling the healings, the workshop that I brought through. And in the end, this person stood in front of me and I'm like, who is this? And I saw it like real time. It was like, it was red sand behind me, like a desert, what would look like Egypt almost, right? But I'm not so sure it was Egypt. I don't know. I think he might have died by the Euphrates River, which is what makes sense to me. But there was no cross, okay? But I saw him, I saw what he was wearing. He was wearing like this white turbine and then he had like this belt on him and he had these sandals, right? And he was dirty. He looked like he had been sun and sand burned, like he had just been out in the elements and he was starving. And that was the energy I was reading. He was suffering. He was hungry, hungry, hungry. He was very malnourished, very skinny, and his skin looked like leather, like he had just been sun and sand burned. You know what do you know what I mean? Like he was rough. And then the next thing I saw was John the Apostle was standing in front of him. They told me it was John the Apostle. I didn't know. I'm like, who is this? And they're like, it's John the Apostle. And he gave him wine and bread. Now, it was as if I was Jesus in the moment because I was feeling his emotions and his experiences. And I was like, he hesitated. He didn't really want them because he knew something was wrong with them, but he took them because he was so hungry. And John the Apostle was supposed to be like his best friend, like his right-hand man. And so even though he felt something was wrong, he hesitated. And then he took both. He ate the bread and he drank the wine. Now, here's the thing. Both of them had high levels of, I believe, cyanide in them. You have to watch the video. I think I talk about what it was, but it's been over a year now that I read. It was like August 7th or 6th of 2021. that I think we did that. If I'm not, it's been a while. Okay, this was right before the twin flame thing hit me. And so after he drank the wine and ate the bread, I started feeling the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And I started crying, and it was so painful I could barely breathe. And I went through it very fast because that's kind of how they play out for me. I have a hard time slowing them down sometimes. And I almost wish I would have, but I know what I felt and saw, and it was witnessed. It was like the worst pain. He was being eaten from the inside out. And I will tell you, it was a slow, painful death for him. It took Jesus 20 minutes to die, at least. And he started bleeding out from every orifice, his mouth, his pores, his eyes, his nose. And that's why you get the depiction of him bleeding from everywhere. Then he was on the ground, the sand. Okay. That was me freeing his soul, because after he died and I saw what happened, it was John the Apostle, his soul lifted up out of his body, and it didn't go up. It went sideways and into the Garden of Eden and became this most beautiful flower. And I talk about that in the videos. Okay, this is what came through. It came through in real time for me doing a workshop for my Patreons. This is how everything would come through. I would just go to do a healing on people, and the next thing we knew, we were clearing Mount Shasta, activating pyramids, and then I freed Jesus's soul. At that time, I thought that was the resurrection of Christ, right? Like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Is Jesus going to come out of the sky like people think? Like, I was trying to figure it out. Okay. I had no idea what it all meant, but it seemed like that was the resurrection. It was not. That was freeing Jesus's soul. His soul went up and into the Garden of Eden, and he became a white flower. Okay, I do a lot of the work that I do in the Garden of Eden, which is in Israel, according to Spirit, by the way. Jerusalem, Israel. That's the Garden of Eden. Okay, it's all here. It's came through me over the last 3-4 years. It's not a joke. Okay, then after that came the union of the twin flames, which is supposed to be what we are, a balance of masculine and feminine. But back to the beginning of time when Atlantis flooded, the fallen angels came about, started causing chaos, and a false goddess kind of thing came about. And I ended up dying because my DM did some things. And at that time, I was not strong enough, and it was hard for me to deviate from my DM. This is how it's played out for me. So in this lifetime, right after we did the freeing of Jesus's soul, I know it's a lot, trust me, all of a sudden I realized my neighbor was my DM. Okay, because Spirit showed me. I knew that I had connected with him, but we didn't quite get along, and we separated for like a year, but he lived 2 doors down. So he went to date somebody else, and I was dating somebody else, and that was not supposed to happen. Okay, it was not. But like I said, he was a druggie, and he was very mean to me, and I had kids. So I was like, I'm just going to protect my kids. Well, it turns out that was my twin flame. And then all of a sudden, these things started happening to us. And that actually played out live on my channel. Okay. Twin flame relationship healing and reunion, guided meditation. Okay. Watch these things. You can see it happen. All of a sudden, I started clearing out like this red contract. It was written in red, and I had to clear all the karma back to the beginning of time. And energetically, he and I started combining. It came through in meditations where it took over. And I didn't know he was aware. I had no idea because he wouldn't talk to me, but we energetically combined. I saw our souls start to go like this. And it was like intense. And they showed me it was life or death for me. And so I chose him. I chose love every time. And then I broke it off with the person that I was with. And I'm like, what is happening? Info about the attack on my soulmate and me. DM message and twin flame progress. Right after we energetically combined, Spirit showed me that he was with a fallen angel. And I didn't know that. It plays out in my freaking messages on my channel. If you go through all my videos, Spirit would do messages, and I didn't know what they were. It was playing out for me in real time, and you can see it. Okay, it was horrible. It was a very painful experience. As soon as we energetically combined, our chakras started combining. He literally lived 2 doors down. Okay, we were talking. He told me he loved me, which is what sparked that. And then all of a sudden, like, he hesitated, which is what my DM did this time. And the lady he was with was she was well aware, and turns out she was a fallen angel. and he took off with her. When he did that, I almost died. I got a blood clot. I was like moaning at night because he started sleeping with her after we connected. A lot of people don't know this, but it played out on my channel. It was horrible. It played out on my channel. I would cry a lot. See, people don't even listen to everything I'm talking about. People come in and then they leave. Nobody takes the time to understand who Jesus is, what happened to you, what happened to your world, what is the ascension, and what the hell does the end of the world mean? I have all the answers. It played out in real time and almost killed me. So a true prophet actually is painful, okay? So this is what happened. I'm going to get to the reason why I'm talking about this, because it's the twin flame that we are supposed to be masculine and feminine, not light and dark. I talk about this. The yin and the yang is not light and dark. We are not half dark and half light. That is such the biggest bullshit they will feed you. That is the same poison they fed Jesus. And after Jesus died, really quick, before I go back to the twin flame, I forgot to mention this. After he died, when I did the resurrection of Christ, I'll get back to that again a little bit, but Mary Magdalene did something with his blood and John the Apostle took it. And I know what the Holy Grail is because I had to clear it. Okay, that's 11:11. So I'll talk about that a little more in the end. But after I freed Jesus's soul, I started combining with my DM. These things were happening to me. It's not like I was choosing this, right? I would never pick to just leave the boyfriend I was about to marry and go be with the guy who was treating me like crap. Like it was, it felt like some people were looking at me like I was just obsessed with some dude or something. That was not the case. It was very painful, but there was a lot of love there. There was a lot of love that I felt as we were combining. When he took off with the fallen angel, spirit literally said, okay, I was going to die. And they're like, you can either breathe or die. And I chose breath. Okay. If you check out everything on my channel, it's all there. Twin flame reunion, new signed contracts, a king is crowned, max love flow and heart opening for all. They kept trying to crown my king, right? Twin flame message, healing recognitions coming through. I had to work very hard for a year to free his soul. Because once he took off with the fallen angel, we went through a heart review. Okay, I know what heart reviews are. I do them myself. I had to do one on Jesus. It's insane. But we did, and they told me my heart was pure light, but his was not. He had a black hole in his heart. And I spent that whole year going against being attacked. It's not like it was easy for me. I was being attacked the whole entire time. I thought it was just by one fallen angel. Spirit said it was by 3, which around that time is when the Euphrates River started drying up. And then I did the shadow work workshop, which I eliminated the whole entire collective shadow over that year. Then I brought down Christ light by myself, which is why I ended up taking us into 7D instead of 5D. Because as I was battling for my own life, my DM's life by healing myself. So I had to heal myself as quickly as I possibly could. Every single layer of who I was, because if you don't know twin flames, it's like when I heal me, he would heal. If I'm in balance, he's in balance. If I'm out of balance, he's out of balance, and vice versa. But for some reason, it's like all the power's on the woman, and I don't understand that. I'm like, can't the DM take over some of this weight? But no, they never have. So it was always pressure on me. Like I had to stay in balance. I couldn't smoke. I couldn't do anything because as I was connecting with him, I started craving pot really bad and I couldn't figure out why. But he was an alcoholic. He was a cokehead. He was dealing all this stuff and I didn't know that. This is part of the karma we had to clear. It's in our contract. But he didn't do it. So I had to do it by myself. So I also had to, that was part of the shadow. It's a lot, but it all plays out. Okay, take a look at it. This is relevant. I'm going to show you this other video in the end of this, which is a Native American gentleman. That's him. Okay. Balancing of male and female, it may seem harsh. Spirit gave me this one today. And if you notice the 2222, when I connected with my DM, the numbers were 2222. And that's what kept coming through, 2222. That was our number. Every time I would see 2, that's when we connected as I meditated on 2222. Spirit communicated with me that something was coming. And the next time I see 2s to meditate. So I did. And that is when we connected. So the 2s are very relevant. Okay, that's a master number. That's where, that's the union. That's the changing the blueprint of love. And that's what we were supposed to do. So for a year, I fought for his soul. And he started waking up. He started choosing me. And on my birthday, he tried to get away from the fallen angel and almost died. That is when the first resurrection of Christ video came through. He was still alive. Which way to go? Right here. The return of Christ, the return of the gods, watch all. This one, God married us. My DM and I could see David next to me energetically. That was his name. And God married us. And then the portal of the gods opened up and they said, that is the return of Christ. And then right after that was my birthday and he tried to come home and he almost died. But then, because God filled him up with Christ's light, okay? But keep in mind, he was still with a fallen angel, and God and the angels kept putting the messages out that they can't go where he's at. They kept warning him, we can't go where you're at. You need to come home. He was almost killing me the whole time. You can watch some of my videos and spirits like he's killing her. He was killing me. My heart was getting worse enlarged. I was swelling up really bad already. So God warned him. After this, he still was not coming home, and God gave him a warning. That was in one of my message videos around that same time frame. You can watch it. These are just the Ascension playlist. I have like a ton of videos on my channel. In one of the messages around that time frame, God gave him a warning, and they said, you come home or you're considered a fallen angel. And I was scared. I was like, oh my God, like this, I don't want to die. I kept praying, like, don't let him kill me. Don't let him kill me, God. What are we going to do? Because he and I had to come together. So that's when this one came through. Twin flames will unite by me. God gave DM a day or two and he won't be here. Okay. He kept making me sick. Then it came to the day. Okay. Then it came to the day where I knew he had to come home. I actually had to do the workshop. I didn't want to do it. I was panicking. I was freaking out. I was upset. This was that morning. I said, a huge paradigm shift is coming today. This is it. Okay. The day, the twin flames. Okay. Paradox today is the day twin flames begin to unite. Okay. So that was the last final day. He didn't show up. This was the workshop that night. It was the same day, August 30th. He didn't show up. And so you can watch this workshop, and my DM died. Now God took his soul. I felt his heart stop. It was very painful. You can watch it. It's at the end of that video. I cried. It was a horrible feeling. I felt my heart stop. It was like horrible. And then as I was like in shock and crying, I heard spirit say, you got to God. It was God. I'm not going to lie. It was God. And I saw him. He's like, you need to let me do this. I'm like, oh, and so I had to breathe and open my heart. And he took his soul out and put it into somebody else. And then David died. And whatever remnants of the soul that David had went into something else. I don't know what, but he was no longer. Do you understand what I'm saying? I tried to look for the obituary, but I don't even remember his last name. I don't know where he moved to or anything, but it was real. And so I'm like, oh shit. Okay. And then I got a new DM, and then I got a new song. And then I started having to not only process the death of David, which was very heartbreaking, and I cried for days on end. I couldn't stop. Then I also had to get used to this new feeling of a new twin flame who I still don't know to this day. Okay. So in between that time frame, I was doing what I needed to do. I was in balance. Spirit finally let me work because I wasn't allowed to when I was fighting for my DM. Everything had to be heart-centered. You can see the whole fight play out. It played out and played out and played out. Twin flame message, Malachi, true self set you free, because he kept lying to me. Like it was rough, you guys. It was not an easy journey. Okay. But the struggle that I felt, the thing is he kept trying to choose me. He just wasn't strong enough to get away. Right. He did so many things to where he had a hole in his heart. And I know he had talked about dead bodies with that girl. He had talked about some bad things happening to him. And so he wasn't necessarily a horrible person. He just I wasn't able to wake him up in time. And so part of it was kind of my fault too, because I didn't know, I didn't understand. Then that is when I learned that the world is not half dark and half light. It's masculine and feminine. And I'm Adam and Eve. That's what they told me. It's in the videos. Okay. It's hard for me to process. I'm not looking for judgment. I don't need that. Do your research. Okay. My own DM died and I got a new one. The new one was supposed to be here at Christmas. One of the messages called him forward, said resurrection time for the DM. Christmas came and I had to resurrect Christ by myself. The blue light came and hit me hard and I swelled up. When my DM died, I had to take the blue light and I swelled up. Okay, so I took a hit big time. That's why I look so huge. And that's why I have a really hard time with my body right now, because I used to be very pretty and very skinny. It was a sacrifice I was willing to make. But my new DM still didn't show up, you guys. And I don't know exactly why. So this one is where Jesus was resurrected. Okay, if you watch this video right here, it takes you through the resurrection. And I didn't know what was coming. I didn't. I just knew Spirit was like, take the day off of your crisis job. I'm like, okay. And they're like, do this workshop. I'm like, okay. So I did it live on YouTube on Christmas. And that is when I realized my DM didn't show up and I was uniting Jesus. The resurrection turned out to be Jesus and Mary Magdalene coming together. So what happened after John the Apostle killed Jesus? Mary Magdalene had a cup and she was putting his blood in this cup, right? And that happens in this video. And then they made her they took John the Apostle, took that blood and they wrote a contract. And the contract was to keep this earth what it was, third D, not light, not Christ. They stole our planet. The fallen angels came down, said, fuck you, God, did what they wanted to do, and really took everything out. Salem, they spent years taking any light out and bringing in as much darkness as they could. And I undid it in 3 years' time. And I almost died. And my DM didn't show up still. But he and I and Jesus and Mary Magdalene coming together and clearing the karma from the beginning of time is your ascension. And that is the resurrection of Christ. And they're all here for you to watch. Okay. Now I want to show you this one. And I'm going to do this to where I stop it and I talk over it because it is the fair use. Okay. So I'm not going to give you the full video because they're blocking me. They don't like me doing this. Where I know other people do reaction videos. So I should be very well aware to show you little clips and talk over it. So that's what I'm going to do here, okay? I haven't watched this video yet. I will randomly stop and react, okay? But I saw this morning. So the other day, God was like, Bree, I need you to rise to your best self. I need you to put yourself out there still. And I said, I want to die. I don't want to do it anymore because my DM still didn't show up and it hurts every day he's not here. And it's hard for me to maintain balance and people just treat me like shit. And I told God I'm done. And this is the truth. I said I wanted to die. And I said I need something. I told God I needed something to keep going because people won't even watch the videos. And I felt like I was failing. And they told me I had to make it through that before I could be abundant anyways, because I had to clear all that karma. And I did. So what God provided me were these videos. And it was proof of everything I'm talking about that I needed because people won't hear me. So I want to watch this. Again, I will be stopping it. So if you want to watch this video, please click the link. I'll include it after the video. Oh, I think I clicked on the wrong one. Sorry about that. I mean to have the twin flame one. Where did it go? There it is. So I've never seen this guy before. The other day, Spirit had called me. They were putting out the call and I didn't want to do it. I was going to deny it. And I told God I needed something. He gave me this video and the other one that they're blocking. So if, like I said, if they don't unblock that one, I will redo it like this, but I will keep stopping it and reacting. That way they can't block this one, hopefully. I will interrupt this really quick and tell you that my DM is supposed to do something to clear all the bloodshed from the Native Americans, from our origination, from our heart, and so we're still behind on that. It's important. Wow. Oh, that'd be so cool. I think I'd want to sit in something like that. I don't want to sweat. Please don't starve yourself. You don't have to sweat to death. There's other ways to connect too, okay? But because I recently heard about people starving themselves because of the return of Christ, don't do that. But this would be so cool to sit in something like that. Can you imagine the energy that are in those trees? Oh my goodness. Oh, you guys probably can't hear what he is saying because I have my headphones on. So hang on. Thank you for letting me know that. Oh, she says she grew up on a razor. I'm going to take my headphones out. So bear with me just a second. Okay. Because I forgot, you probably won't be able to hear this. So she does fast a few times a week. Hers about 18 hours long. And that's great. I like fasting. I think fasting is important. I think some people just take it to the extreme. They lose logic, right? Like, and then they end up like dying because they fasted for like 2 weeks. So can you hear me? Can you let me know if you can hear me since you're commenting? I really appreciate that. You should be able to hear me now. I hope. Let me see. You can hear me okay? Cool. All right, she said true. So I'm assuming she can hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and play this now and hopefully you can hear it. Basically, he was just talking about the elders. He was losing the elders. He would go to them for advice and he's lost a few of them. And he talked about, doing a sweat lodge in that tree teepee, right? And so that's basically where we're at now.
Order food and
hopefully you can hear it now.
So we'll talk until they have shared with me what I've asked about. And so that's the way we go about finding some of this information. But the other thing that I would like to explain is that the language of our people, the Navajo, there is a very high form of the Sad. And then there's the middle and probably the lower. And so it is that they are at different levels. The very highest form of the language of our people, it would seem like a foreign language, I guess, to the.
You're so welcome. I'm going to stop it here because he's talking about the language. So the video I did yesterday talked about how it was of him as well as History Channel one. And it proved kind of where Atlantis is. They are discovering that there are some natives that actually talk about that and the gods coming out of Lake Titicaca. Okay. And so he also does a video on there that says once their language of the gods was forgotten, the end of world would occur. And so that was relevant. And that's kind of what he's talking about too now, I think.
People that only know the low form of the language of our people. As I mentioned in some of the other presentations on that that form of language is a language all in itself. And the words in that associated with the learning in that area is completely forgotten down in the lower part of our population. As far as speaking the language, there's not very many people that understand and know. I think that even the songs and some of the prayers and that, when people our people listen to them, they would think that they were just what we call vocables, like fa la 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 or blah 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 or whatever, and it wouldn't make sense to them. But they are not vocables; they are actual words, and that in those songs and in those prayers and in the way that the ceremonies are conducted.
I will stop again. I want to show you one more thing before I finish this video, because I have to do this anyway for the Fair Use Act. Okay. So if you want to watch that video completely through, please do. I'll put the link underneath. He's a great guy. I also did a video. It came through. This is the Native American stuff. The reason I'm getting this video is very relevant. My DM has to clear something there. He spoke of in the other video how it was the language of the gods that was passed on to them, and it is becoming forgotten. And when I channel, if my light language, if you guys pay attention to it, like it's very similar. It is. And then I did a video, and I feel like this one is relevant for you guys to have. I always forget where I put it. It's in one of my playlists. It's in this one, meditation music and guided meditations. It is channeled kind of Hopi. It's a master Native American mantra, channeled shaman master mantra with definition and Hertz chakra cleanse and opening. So this would be a really good one to use. Okay. I feel like it's relevant right now. So, I'll make sure I save that to put it in under the video, because it's a channeled shaman master mantra, and I don't hear them often. Okay. So I just wanted to give you guys that. It's all relative. It really is.
And I've been to many ceremonies. I've been into many sweat lodge settings, and I've been at very sacred ceremonies and that, and had the opportunity to be able to ask questions. And so these things are the things that we are able to bring and share with you, and we'll continue to do that. And one of these days, all of our old people will be gone, and it's sad to see them all getting old and they can't converse very well. And some of them understand, and they try their best to provide me the information. And I've had some occasion in that to find some of these old people in the care facilities and that. And it's sad the way that their family may have just put them there, and they're lonely, and they have so much to tell, and they have so much to share. And I see them, and I get emotional about it. And in some ways, it does make me unhappy with the way that they are treated. But
I can just actually feel his pain. I didn't realize that. So a lot of the elders were kind of sent away, and we're losing that connection with them. So I'm so thankful he's bringing it forward. I encourage you guys to check this guy out too. And if you compare what this guy says to what I've done, it's mind blowing.
Well, as I say, we'll continue to do the things that we need to do to be able to share with you the things that are very important, especially in this time. And again, also to say thank you to all of our people that support our efforts. And so there's one. So
he did say how important it is in this time frame. Okay. That's why I keep doing these videos. It's so important, the information I'm bringing about, and that it aligns. And De La Roca talks about it. And there's another one. She talks about it. There's a few people that are tuned in. It's good to know.
One issue in that keeps cropping up, various people want to ask, and they do ask, and that is the subject of male and female. The
resurrection of
fundamental
Christ
law and the teaching of our people is said to be Bekeni, which means that all subject of life forms and that are given birth, and but also the second part, the third part, and the fourth part to that particular teaching. And the first part is Bekeni, as the second one. That means that there is a law that is applied to everything that's given birth, and that there are laws, the way to live life, and there are laws as far as death. And then the fourth part is there are laws of the universe, And
Yes.
that laws that apply to us here and laws that apply to the universe, we must abide by those laws. This is what we're.
Do you guys know what those laws are? Why we even have those laws? It's the way of light. See, they convinced you that Jesus died for our sins and that because of that, we would be forgiven, which is stupid because that's not the way God works. He doesn't judge you. He doesn't ban anybody. It's you let light in or you let dark in. Okay. Making sense?
We're told the Ke'ina is that we must be obedient to those laws. And we must be obedient to the laws of all things that our life forms are given birth. And so when I've had the opportunity to talk to some of the old people, they talk about all life forms is given birth, but it involves a man and a woman. And the terms that we use in the language of our people, when we talk about a man, we say hasti, or when we say a woman, we say a son. And the other way that most people understand is baka, or ba'ad, which means the male or female. So it is mother.
Did you guys hear him almost say the female sounded like sun? I talk about the moon and the sun. The moon is like the masculine energy and the sun is the feminine. This is what I've said many times because I've moved the moon, draw down the light of the sun. It's like they were blocking each other. It's amazing.
Earth is female, Father Sky is male. Those two have to be present to produce life. And so it is that in producing life, there has to be a male and there has to be a female. Those are the laws that apply to the Kenichi. It is very, very important to understand. And when birth is given, it is either a boy or a girl. Ashkila, atedla. They announce that immediately when you were born. When you're born and you're coming to this world, there's always somebody there. They'll say, Ashkila. It is a boy. And then if it's a girl, they say, Atedla. I remember that was a part of the teachings of Ardenet. And then all your life, you have to understand that that is that and so it is that we always have to understand that there is male and there is female. In our environment, everything is understood to be either male or female. The male lane.
I got chills. Oh my gosh. This is so validating. So if you just are joining, I talked a lot about the process of the return of Christ. The return of Christ is the reunion of male and female. It's Jesus and Mary Magdalene, my DM and I. It's all the same pretty much. I mean, it all worked together. It was insane. It almost killed me. And this is amazing. This is just so beautiful and amazing. When you put my work together with the truths, it's so beautiful.
Female name, and so all things are assigned to be either male or female. And it is that male and male cannot reproduce.
Okay, I'm going to stop this. So I know we have the LGBTQ and I'm not against them. And I'm sure this guy is not either. Okay. And I got chills when I said that. We're talking about the beginning of time and the way of the land and the laws of the universe and the laws of the world. But if you are part of the LGBTQ, God's not going to judge you. Your heart is still what matters. That is the only way you are determined if you go into heaven or hell, as they call it, but it's light or dark, is how much you let in of either one. It's all on you. And just because you may be part of LGBTQ or trans or something does not mean that God is going to judge you and you are going to be banned. So I just want to clear that up. That is not what this is about. Okay. This is about the true beginning of time, the laws of the land, the laws of our nature, where we got all messed up and how we're not meant to be half dark and half light, but it's male and female.
Female and female cannot reproduce. It is that you have to have a male so you can have woman, or you have to have woman so you can have man.
Adam and Eve, twin flames.
Those are the teachings that are very fundamental, and those are the fundamental laws that apply to everything. Comes from birth. At birth, that they are what they are, and we cannot change it. We may be in a position to say that the words that we use sometimes to apply to men that have the feelings of woman, we might say nutle, or a woman that has the feelings of a man, we might say nutle. That's all. That is their feelings. but it doesn't make the man a woman, or it doesn't make a woman a man. The woman can still give birth and the man can still produce offspring. There is no changing that. There is no such thing as
It's very
being
relevant.
two spirit. You are that single spirit from the very beginning, from the first world into the second world and into this world and into the next world. You will always be that one spirit.
Yes.
And so the teachings of our people, we have to understand these basic laws, which is to understand. And then is to understand that there are laws in the universe that we don't understand. And so all kinds of studies in the world are made about energy and various things in our environment.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it because how did I activate pyramids? How did I move the North and South Pole? Am I over there digging with the damn shovel? No. I literally go into meditations and I move them, but it's not just spiritual. It actually plays out in the physical. One of the videos that I did, there was a lightning strike from Zeus. And that is when I think 3 people died at the White House. That was the shadow work one. If you watch the shadow work workshop that I did, after I did a certain thing, Zeus lightning struck the White House. And in real time, there was lightning strike that hit right outside the White House. And I think it killed at least 2 people. Like, these things are very real. Energy is how things are moved. That is how pyramids were formed. That is how pyramids hold energy. That is how the earth was filled with energy and light, electricity, all these things. That is what Tesla was talking about. And so we got off track. This is beautiful. Thank you, God, for this, because God put this on my lap because I wanted to give up.
And so these laws apply. The laws will not change. And it will always be even the law of gravity. And we can kind of do things to work against gravity by reducing friction or having some propulsion to do those things. But it is that we still have to be obedient to those laws. But there is the laws of the holy people, there is the laws of nature, there are the laws of universe, and there's the laws of civility. And so there are always laws. And so there comes the second part to the teaching of the ne, which is that
The ne.
the Kenichi is to understand that particular thing of male and female. The second part of that teaching as it progresses is that there has to be the opposite, but the opposite have equal force. And so it is that's the way also to think of the male and the female. The male has a quality, the female has a quality, and they are both equal in a way that they complement each other.
Yes.
And so it is like things that are positive, things that are negative. They still have to exist. And so the laws that are presented to us by the holy people and the laws that are in nature and the laws that are in the universe are some things we have to abide by. And those are the teachings that we have to share. And something may seem harsh to some, but it is what we are told.
So you see, that is why I shared this whole video today, and why the importance of the DM and myself is huge. And unfortunately, the divine masculine has not put anything into the ascension. And so that is why we're out of balance. And that is what the spirit's been talking about. That's what I've been talking about. And when my DM did not show up on Christmas and I had to unite the twin flames by myself and I had to carry that light, it hurt so bad. And I don't know why the DM can't understand that it's okay to just follow that heart, to follow the love, because we need that masculine energy in this planet just as much as we needed mine. It's super important. So does that mean that if you've grown up a lesbian or gay or whatever, that you're again don't matter? No, that's not at all what it is. But in each of us, we have an alignment of masculine and feminine. And the planet has been so out of balance with that. That is where everything faltered. Okay. In the beginning of time, when the fallen angels said, fuck God, that's what happened. And they started doing their own thing. The false goddess came about, took out the DM. There was a false masculine, kind of took out the feminine. Somehow Mary Magdalene helped them create a holy grail of Jesus's blood, and a whole bunch of bad shit happened. Okay. And as it is being cleaned out of the environment, I would employ that we need extra love to go to those individuals who are definitely struggling, right? There's an imbalance, and the balance has to be made of masculine and feminine. And that's what we're at right now with the solar eclipse. That's what's coming out in the energy. And I love how he said that. I love how he said this. I'm going to repeat this part right here because it was beautiful.
Complement each other. And so it is like things that are positive, things that are negative. They still have to exist. And so the laws that are presented to us by the holy people and the laws that are in nature and the laws that are in the universe are some things we have to abide by. And those are the teachings that we have to share. And something may seem harsh to some, but it is what we are told.
Okay. It's not about being harsh at all, right? But some people are going to take that and go, oh, so they're saying this. No, I don't follow the Bible. Neither does God. That's the first thing they showed me, is that it's corrupted. Okay. And so I remember as a kid, I went to church once and they told me I would go to hell if I didn't get baptized. And I said, I'll see you in hell. And I left. So there's a misconception. Okay. But I want you to consider the fact that we got so out of balance in the masculine and feminine that that's where the confusion and things like this have occurred. Okay. And in truth, we should all be in balance on the internal and the masculine and feminine. And that is what these lights are pushing and they are forcing. And anything that is not of the light, anything that is not that has to go. People are still waiting for God or Jesus to come out of the sky, or I don't know what their theory is on the return of Christ, but I will tell you it already occurred. Christ has already returned. Okay, I showed you that in the videos. This channeled shaman master mantra with definition would be beautiful. It'll help you open up. It'll help you see things. But we do need the DM, you guys. I'm not going to lie. The DM is off. He needs to clear a lot of blood out of the planet. He's supposed to have a pyramid where I am. And so Malachi is holding space for that. And so every day I wake up crying. I don't know how to go on without the DM. And I have, people going, oh, well, we can all do a team thing. And it's not that. Okay. I brought about the ascension by myself, and DM is holding the space, or Malachi is right now, but he can't do that forever. So I am working hard to correct that. I'm again trying to pull up the DM and hope that he can step forward. So I feel like we still need a lot of love to go into the divine masculine, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. Spirit lets me know it's just balance required. And so that's what I'm doing. Okay. We must be in balance. It's a new balance. It's not an old balance. It's a new balance for the new earth, balance of masculine and feminine within you, a balance of that playing out in your environment, and a heart-centered world. Okay. So anything that is false will crumble, and it already is. Okay. I talked about 2 years ago, I talked about banks will fall. I talked about money will be an issue. I plucked GMO farms. And then after the twin flame thing occurred, you can finally see these things playing out. The banks started falling. We're having all these trains collide with toxic stuff on it. All this stuff's happening. It's going to continue happening. The earthquakes, the volcanoes, everything is all there. It's all biblical, the right biblical information, not the false ones. I would say the Dead Sea Scrolls are the more accurate representation. Okay. And then also there's been a few videos where they talk about how to prove who I am, right? It's all there for you. And so I encourage you guys to check out these videos. I will put a link of this one. I will have more coming to, it's just validations that I needed. Here was clearing Mount Shasta. Remember, that was a big deal. Mount Shasta is a volcano. I didn't know that when I cleared it. I had no idea. It was so corrupt, but everybody kept praising it as if it's this high vibrational place. I know so many spiritual people who are like, oh, Mount Shasta, and they go and do these things there. And it's like, you guys don't realize you were putting in darkness. Okay. If you go and have a spiritual journey at Mount Shasta, clear that energy. Watch this video to understand why. And California has been cut off to life support. That's not a joke. Okay. Fiji is relevant. Did you notice there was a big earthquake there the other day? There's a pyramid underwater there that I activated. Okay. Lake Titicaca is where Atlantis is, and Atlantis will rise. So what's going to happen with Lake Titicaca remains to be seen. Machu Picchu is Atlantis. And this is why I was hoping to be able to show you that video yesterday. So the moment they release it, I hope they do, you guys will have that video too. Okay. I needed these from God. I needed this validation, and this is what he brought through. And it has filled my heart completely, because the relevance with that video of the Native American aspect is valid with my DM, because that's what we're missing. Okay. So pray for the DM. That's all I can say, is we really need him to step up. It's inevitable. And it's very relevant. And this eclipse is not what you think it is. Okay. This eclipse is very powerful and potent, and they're not blocking the sun. So everybody was like, "Oh, eclipses are so awesome." But what they didn't realize is that was a detriment to your soul. But I bypassed it. And that's what those huge chunks out of the sun were that I took. And it was like pouring down. And now science is proving all that work. Okay. So watch the videos. It's pretty amazing stuff. And it is what we need to know now. It is what you need to know for the ascension. It is what is rising in the collective soul as the sunlight comes down. Okay. Hi, Amy. So Amy just joined, you guys. I want you to hear this, because Amy H did all my workshops. She graduated from my academy. She's watched me activate the pyramids. We've both been blown away through this whole process. Okay. She's a twin flame. She's also a part of the 144,000. She just said, and in one of my workshops, I said that they were going to unearth crystals from Atlantis, but I also ascended us. So they're going to be ones you've never heard of before. I had said things are going to be unearthed that you've never seen before. It's in one of my videos. I don't know which one specifically. Watch them all and you'll find it. But Amy just said that she just read that Florida found a new crystal. Okay. So I had done recently, I said I took us into 70, and I started unearthing these crystals, and I cracked the Sphinx when I did it. And I said, they're going to find things they've never seen before. And she just said that Florida found a new crystal. That's amazing, Amy. Thank you for sharing that with me. Amy, I started this video crying. Like I needed these today. I needed these validations. I needed the videos that I've been presented with, because the DM is missing in my heart space. So the more support we can get with what really happened. Like I said, I tried to show the video yesterday of the resurrection of Christ, and this guy didn't even watch the video. He literally mocked me. He laughed at me, and he said, "When Jesus returns, wake me up." And I said, "I'm not worrying about you. It's for those who can see in the eye." And I said, "You didn't even watch the video." So this is what I talk about. It's like people won't take the time to just watch the videos. Maybe it's a lot to process who I am. Maybe it's a lot to process the fact that Jesus has already returned. People are waiting for some big split of water, which I actually did in a few workshops, right? We split the water. I already did that. I've moved water. And if you haven't noticed, the water on the planet is moving, and it goes in conjunct with the videos that I did. They will dry out in certain places. Euphrates River dried out, and that's biblical, right? Once the Euphrates River dries out, that plays into the shadow workshop. If you watch my shadow workshop, I think that it was the Euphrates River area. That's what makes sense to me. And the Garden of Eden's in Israel. Okay. All of these things are so relevant. And I just encourage people to watch the truth, because just like this gentleman said, it may sound harsh right now, right? I may sound like I'm being a bitch, or it may sound harsh, or if I am that, why am I worried about pushing for people to see? That's your ascension. If you can't see, are you going to ascend? Right? Amy says, "My male friend has been watching you with me, and he can feel the healing that you have been doing. He's very in tune with what's going on." Oh, Amy, that makes me happy. I love hearing that. We'll tell him to send a message to the DM to come home. I really need the DM, because I'm struggling every day, you guys. So I thank you for this time. Hopefully the video yesterday will be let go of, because you're allowed to do videos, like people do those kind of videos all the time. So why they copyrighted it and blocked it is beyond me. If they don't give you guys, I want to show you, because it's about Atlantis. They're proving that that space is the beginning of time, and that was where the flood occurred. And my bones are in the bottom of Atlantis. I mean, Lake Titicaca, right? Like that was a lot to process. But I implore you to pay attention to Machu Picchu and Lake Titicaca and the Peru and is that Bolivia, Brazil, whatever that is right next to it. That whole area, I truly feel is going to be going through some changes, and it's related to Atlantis rising over the next year. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of energy, and it's a lot of where you're out of balance and the masculine and feminine is rising. Okay. And so suicides can rise again. All right. People can feel that. They can really have a hard time with it. And suicides can spike again. So be mindful of that. Thank you, Amy. If you know anybody who is struggling, I used to work the crisis line. I was a crisis specialist until recently. 988, okay, from all over the world works. People are there to support you, to help you. And the funny thing about 988 is I don't know how many people would call in and talk about this stuff, okay? So trust me when I tell you, you're not alone, all right? You're not alone, even though it seems like sometimes we are, okay? So suicide is not an option, okay? Healing is a good option. That's the way I look at it. Teal Swan is not of the light. I will repeat that 1,000 times over. And it bothers me because due to what she teaches, people thought it was okay to kill themselves. And I will tell you it's not. Do you go into purgatory? Not necessarily, but it is something that you have to reconcile before you can come back. Because that's karma you don't really want to play out. Okay. And so you just have to be careful, but there is a consideration of mental aspect, right? Like I said, it's all about what's in the heart, not necessarily what we do outside of that. And so just be mindful of that. But she would preach a lot about, oh, it's a reset and blah, blah, blah. And in this lifetime, we don't get to reset. You don't get to come back to clear karma here anymore. That's what the ascension is about. It's judgment day. And I talked about that as I was bringing it about. Okay. Because I went into a panic at one time and I tried to stop and I said, I don't want to kill people. And God said, I'm not killing them. It's their free will. Okay. So that's judgment day. All right. It's either let light in or let dark in. It's your choice, because we're not meant to be both. The vibrations do not match. Okay. But we're distorted on that. We're distorted on that conception because of religion, because of the conformity, because of who's in quote unquote charge. We've gotten distorted on that. Okay. So it's all about where your heart is, not about what you've played out on the outside necessarily. Okay. Granted, if you kill people, are you of the light anymore? There might be some in there, but you've definitely let in some dark. Do you understand? Does it make sense now? This is the reality. Okay. We're supposed to be masculine and feminine, a balance in the earth of masculine and feminine. And that's where Atlantis went down, is the masculine and feminine became out of balance. And the fallen angels spent years taking out the light of this planet. They moved the North and South Pole. They did all this stuff. And I spent 3 years undoing all of it. It took me 3 years, what it took them centuries to do. Okay. So just watch the things. It's not about judgment. It is about love. It is about an understanding. It is about coming into the balance with the laws of the universe. Okay. Thank you guys for watching this video. It has been an emotional journey for me. It has been quite a painful one, and I have experienced a lot of judgment. And the moment I wanted to quit, God gave me what I needed. Okay. So just keep your arms open, ask for assistance, and be open to reception from wherever it's going to come. We are not alone, but Judgment Day is very real. This is the end of ways, but it's not the end of days for all. So when you see something that says the end of the world will occur on April 23 of 23, no. The end of the world is not exactly what people think it is. When you hear that, you're going to think, oh, everything's going to die. Everybody's going to die. The whole world is going to like just be barren, right? Like when it came in and knocked out supposedly the dinosaurs, which is not how it played out either, by the way. The end of the world is the end of ways. It's the end of darkness on this planet. It's the end of false reality on this planet. And that's already playing out. Are the energies big right now? Yes. Are we going into a centripetal point of a curve where there's no return? Yes. Okay. So that's what I mean. You better heal it now. Let things wake you up. Tune into the earth, receive the sunlight that I bypassed from the eclipse that you can absolutely receive in the earth, because that's where I took it to, is in the crystalline grid. Okay. Tune into Mother Earth. She will provide you what you need. Find a healer if you need to. Okay. It's there to receive. That'll help you heal, because these portals are what they're tuning into. It's the ascension portals are what these people are tuning into, but they're kind of in like not the highest light. And so they try to say, oh, the end of the world is going to be on this day. So please don't play into that. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys, and for being there with me. I know I lost a lot of people already. It's a lot, but people's attention spans, it's a lot of information to sit with. And that's why I talked yesterday on Facebook about, are you receiving light messages or dark ones, right? So the Blue Star Roger, maybe remember, I still can't watch the Hopi prophecy, but I think that is the relevant one. Yes. I did hear something about the Blue Star prophecy. It's the Hopi Blue Star prophecy, right? Am I right on that? Yes, that is relevant. It's all about what I brought about. And if you watch this whole video, Roger, it's a really good one. And there's some really good information in there for you to keep. And I'm going to put the links underneath this video of the videos that I talked about. Okay. So yeah, it is with that prophecy. It is the Blue Star prophecy. I just wish I could talk with you about that, because somehow I'm still blocked from watching the prophecies. I just don't know what it is. Yeah. Yep. So enjoy it, watch it. I really like this video. It's what I needed. And I hope the one from yesterday is finally unblocked, because it's also very relevant. So whenever it is released, you guys can watch it. If they choose not to release it, I will just do it like this. Okay. And again, please don't clear contracts. I still see people talking about that. There is a way to get your power back, but for the ascension, we don't come back in another lifetime here to clear karma anymore. Okay. And so contracts were meant for us to help each other ascend. The only way to take your power back with them and not hurt yourself for the ascension is to throw love into them, call forth what you need to learn in karma cleansing. Okay. And that's how you help each other. Those contracts are for us to help each other. But everybody's like, oh, clear your contracts to gain your power back. And you don't realize that you just let darkness in, because that's not unconditional love. We signed up for these contracts to help each other through this ascension, to help clear the karma, to make different choices outside of the darkness, outside of the shadow than we would have before, where we can't come in another lifetime and do it again. It's it. This is it. This is now or never. This is the ascension. You're either going to 5 and 7D or you're going somewhere else. Okay. Either this lifetime or another, or never. And I talk about that many times over. That's what the ascension is. It's judgment day. It is. That's why they call it the end of the world. It's because either you choose light and you heal, which is painful. Okay. And I'll show you that video next time. Or you allow more darkness in, you get cut off from the light, because they cannot coexist. Okay. That's why I get so upset when people are like, oh, there's darkness and magic or light magic. No, it's in the wrong hands. Okay. It's like the only thing that exists is within God's light. Everything outside of that is void. And that is why they've pretty much basically lied and cheated and stole your soul. Okay. Because they're nothing without the light. All right. So much love to all of you. Please watch the videos. That's all I ask. And just understand that I come with an open heart and full of love, even if it doesn't always come off that way. Until next time, have a beautiful solar eclipse, because this solar eclipse is so powerful because I bypassed it. Tune into the earth and you'll get downloads that are necessary. Okay. So much love to all of you, and I will see you again soon. You're right where you're supposed to be. Hasta la vista, baby.